And welcome back to Packet 6. This is part 2. For this part, we are going over distributive property. So at the top, there are a few examples of distributive property. Remember, distributive property is just taking the number that is on the outside of the parentheses and distributing it to each term on the inside. When you distribute, you multiply. So we'll do a few together, and then I will have you do a few on your own. So let's just start with the basic, looking at A. So if you look at A, I have 2 times x plus 4. So you're going to distribute the 2 to the x and the 4. So this is saying 2 times x plus, remember you take that sign right there, plus 2 times 4. So 2 times x, we don't know the value of x, so 2 times x is just 2x plus 2 times 4, which is 8. So that's your answer, 2x plus 8. Okay? Looking at B, I'm distributing the negative 3. So I'm going to have negative 3 times 6x minus negative 3 times 5. Okay, negative 3 times 6 is negative 18. And remember, just bring down the x. Minus negative 3 times 5 is a negative 15. Now, because I have integers here, I'm actually going to do the keep change opposite rule, just so there's not 2 negatives right next to each other. So when I do keep change opposite, you're going to keep the negative 18x, you're going to change subtract to add, and the opposite of negative 15 is a positive 15. So now you have negative 18x plus 15. Okay, looking at C, distribute the negative 2. Actually, I'm going to have you do C on your own. Let's do C on your own. Okay, looking at D. D, I have 2/3 times 6x minus 12. So even though this is a fraction, it's the same rule that applies. So I have 2/3 times 6x minus 2/3 times 12. So 2 times 6 is 12. 12 divided by 3 is 4. So this is 4x minus 2 times 12 is 24, and 24 divided by 3 is 8. So I have 4x minus 8. E, distribute the negative 1/4. So I would have negative 1/4 times negative 8x plus negative 1/4 times 24. So 8 times 1 is 8. 8 divided by 4 is 2. And 2 negatives multiply make a positive. So I have 2x plus 1 times 24 is 24. 24 divided by 4 is 6. And a negative times a positive is a negative. So I have a negative 6. So I have 2x plus a negative 6. I want you to try and do F. So let's look at G. G, I have 3x being distributed. So I would have 3x times a negative 2x plus 3x times 3y. 3 times 2 is 6. It's going to be a negative 6 because this is a positive times a negative. So I have negative 6. And now I'm multiplying an x by an x. So you're basically just counting how many x's you have. So I have 2 x's, so this would be x squared. So if you were multiplying like 3 x's together, it would be x to the 3rd. 4 x's, x to the 4th, okay? So this is negative 6x squared plus 3 times 3 is 9. And you're just going to add on those letters, x and y. That is your answer. Looking at H, distribute negative 4x. So negative 4x times a negative 2x minus a negative 4x times 8y. So negative times a negative is a positive. So 4 times 2 is 8. And again, you have two x's, so it's x squared minus 4 times 8 is 32. It's going to be a negative 32. And just write down your letters. Now again, this is with subtracting a integer. So I'm going to do keep, change, opposite. And that's your answer. So I want you to try and do H. So your goal is to do C, F, and H on your own. So now we have what is called factoring out. So with factoring out, you're doing the opposite. So it's already distributed and you're trying to make it back into an equation, okay, or an expression. So here's an example. Number 1, they have 12 plus 6x. They are giving you 4. So think of this part right here as this part right here. You're just factoring out something they have in common, okay? So if they give you 4, I would take 12 divided by 4. And 12 divided by 4 is 3. Okay? So that's what they have in common. So now I'm going to take 6x divided by 3, or 6 divided by 3. And 6 divided by 3 is 2. And I just bring the x with it. Okay? So now I'm going to look at number 2. I have negative 10x minus 15. And you have to pay attention to the sign that they are like left with. So basically looking at this, I have a negative 15 and a positive 3. So I'm going to take negative 15 divided by 3. So negative 15 divided by 3, you get a negative 5. So that's what they have in common. So now I'm going to take negative 10x divided by a negative 5. Well, negative divided by a negative is a positive. So now I just need to do 10 divided by 5. 10 divided by 5 is 2. And then add on that x. And you can check your work if you would like to redistribute through to see if you get the same answer. Okay, looking at number 3. I have negative 6x minus 6. They give us 2. So I'm going to do negative 6 divided by 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3. But because it's a negative divided by a positive, it's a negative 3. So now I'm going to take negative 6x divided by a negative 3. Negative divided by a negative is a positive. So 6 divided by 3 is 2. Add on your x. And the very last one, I have 4x minus 20 equals. So I have a negative 5 and a negative 20. So negative divided by a negative is a positive. 20 divided by 5 is 4. So that's what they have in common. So now I'm going to take 4x divided by 4. 4 divided by 4 is 1. Add on your x. So your only job for this is to do C, F, and H. If you have any questions, please use Google Classroom, email, or Remind.